Really fancy graphics. This must mean it's a JD iRacing video. And it is. And we are here, of course, at Las Vegas. I mean, the slots kind of gave it away. And I, as you know, adore this track. But this time, we're in the Cup car. I believe we've been here in the Xfinity and in IndyCar. This is the first time I've been here in the Cup. And we are here in the Open Series. Now, what's the difference between the Open Series and the Fixed Series? Well, of course, Open Series has a full-on setup. Now, I am racing with a Buster's Corners setup. This is a Discord group that I'm loosely involved in. But they make some really good, mainly dedicated to Cup cars, but they will venture into some other things. A very good community, very helpful. And yeah, this was my first race with this setup and wanted to give it a shot. So I'm here in a lobby. Now, yes, I haven't been doing great. I got my ass handed to me a little bit at Fontana. I had my ass handed to me a lot at Daytona. I didn't feel like showing those. My I rating took a little bit of a hit. We are currently in a third split, but that's okay. So come out here for my qualifying lap. And I'm not actually racing in a qualifying trim. I only have a race trim, that's it. And I'm still kind of feeling out the car as well. But it felt pretty good. It felt pretty stable. Now, it wasn't necessarily the quickest thing on the track, but it was decent. The car went into the corner really well. Really liked the bottom line. Now, granted, I do like racing on the bottom line normally, but this car really favors that. Yeah, trying to get it as close as I can to the white line now. Riding on the onboard here, and we come up to a final lap. Cut a little bit onto the apron, hoping to save just a little bit of time. Doing over 190 miles an hour in the turn one. This is a very fast mile and a half. And compared to Fontana, which maybe at the end I'll show some video, maybe after the logo rolls or something like that, of some of my Fontana escapades. Because yes, I went to Fontana at its final race. It was pretty great. Now we crossed the checker with a decent time. You know, it's not bad. Gets me in 10th. I'm okay with that. What's crazy is some of the faster times. I mean, I could never break into the 29s. 30.07, take it. Well, I thought I would mix things up a little bit and open you guys up to a little bit of the radio chatter. This is the radio chatter that you're hearing during the race as long as you have it enabled, and you can talk with just about anyone. Usually people are talking in the open channel, so here you go.
Can I get a Brian check? Good to go, Colin. How you doing, Brian? I think we got 3 Brians in this race. Yeah, I meant the one that's Air Force, Crocker. Alright, yeah, that's why I said call me Crocker. I'm doing good. Hope you are. Hope you are as well. Good luck, guys. 100 lap race.
A 100 laps. Oh shoot, I should have peed before it started. Just kidding.
Good luck. That's part of my pre-race ritual.
Peeing in the seat or going pee beforehand?
Beforehand, but I always have a rest day just in case.
Good man.
Everybody cooperate. Yeah, I can hold it.
Alright, fellas, even though the thing says 100 laps, remember, you always win it in turn 1. Good luck.
They don't even make it there anymore.
Yeah, we're doing good to make it to the start-finish line.
I usually got to get the wave around on lap 1.
Okay, we're doing good if we take the green.
Yeah, you ain't lying, brother. You ain't lying.
Hey, come on now. I ran two auto clubs this morning, and both of them were caution-free. Green to checker.
And we have a small field too. I mean, not small.
Yeah, we should. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Yeah, some of the auto clubs are alright, but a lot of them weren't. And just think about it, there was only about 8 lanes of racing there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough week, I think.
Now, you really gotta love the optimism there as we're coming to the green flag. Fontana last week was a bit rough. Daytona the week before was tough. So I get their pessimism there. So we get the green flag here. And it's 100 laps. Now things are getting a little bit dicey. At least try and hopefully get into a single file. That'll be a little bit more stable. But I get up into the wall. Kodak gets up into the wall. It's banging off of number 12. You hear him chattering over the radio. Let's see what happened there. Take it side by side.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. My bad, man.
Ooh. Seemed to have bounced off and went up into the wall. That is really not going to be good for number 2's race there. His Kodak car is probably having a bit of difficulty. But I seem to have been okay. I didn't get any damage. I did get just a minor contact.
Go ahead and take it on the inside.
Oh dear. We got a blinker. Ooh, and having to check up quite a bit. The blinking is, of course, where you have a bit of a spotty connection. But it does sometimes cause some havoc. But I'm able to capitalize on that and get around him and get around the other car that was being stopped up by him. Well, let's hop on some of my onboards here. Look back at one of the Bryans there. Trying to fill me along with the number 20 that I'm able to just get around. And now we're trying to look back. Ooh, 20 tries to take me up on the outside, but my car is really planted on the inside here. I'm able to get a decent drive out. Sort of crowded him a little bit, but he still has the advantage, as the outside line does have superior speed along the straightaways, mainly because you don't have to slow down as much into the corners, taking the long way. By taking the long way around, you're of course lengthening your distance on the track. But he's able to get a pretty good run, probably burning up his tires a little bit, pushing it way harder than I am. I, of course, am realizing, well, it's only it's a 100-lap race, and we're only 7-8 laps into this. I should really conserve my tires. Now, yes, I am taking an aggressive line down to the line, but because I'm trail braking and I'm being really smooth with my inputs, ooh, so purple car there almost turned second. Yeesh. Some complaints over the radio chatter there. That purple car is actually the number 1, I believe. He is racing with the Buster's Corners livery, which is pretty cool. Seeing a fellow Buster's Corners user, probably using a similar setup
Yeah,
to
do
the
we
one that I
trust it or just go for it?
I'm just going for it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Now they're talking about just a matter of pushing it.
Of course, it changes line when I decide to go around them too.
Some people are pushing it a lot harder than others. Some people are kind of pulling back out of it. But these Buster's Corner setups are pretty neat. You can join their Discord, you just kind of search for it. I put the link in the description. If I remember. It is 1:30 a.m. right now. And I just decided to record because I was feeling slightly insomniac. I don't know. Words are hard. Ooh, as the 10 almost takes off my back bumper there. I am being a little bit aggressive, but I'm mainly just trying to move through the field. Work my way up. I mean, I am now in 4th place, starting from 10th. So I've moved up 6 positions. And really it's a matter of just kind of keeping clean as well as just sticking to my lines. And I know my car feels fast on the bottom. Ooh, as the 20 gets loose and ducks down onto the
9,
18.
you are all over the place.
Number 9 is, of course, the Glitchy McGee. That was blinking all over the place. So they're complaining about him. He's further back in the pack.
Thank you, thank you.
There is, of course, a little bit of courtesy as well with lapped cars or just trying to get around. That's really what the radio chatter is especially useful for. But because of the 20 diving down, that has allowed me to move up into 3rd place. Now the number 7 and the number 4 really had decent setups. And both their Chevys were, I think number 4 was a Chevy. Yeah, he was. Both those Chevys were quick. Now, if you're wondering in iRacing, does it matter whether you're in a Ford or a Chevy or a Toyota? Not really. I would say the only time it kind of matters is at super speedways where the geometry on the front end of a Ford is much flatter, easier to hook up with another car and push it. But all 3 cars handle the same. You can grab a setup for a Chevy and put it onto a Ford and it won't matter. Basically because most of the differences between the cars are purely cosmetic. And the reason for that is to create a more competitive parity between the cars than would otherwise be in real life. In real life, Ford makes the Ford engines, Chevy makes the Chevy engines, Toyota makes the Toyota engines. They're all incentivized to get as much out of them as they can. Same thing with the bodies. So a Toyota will handle a little bit differently than a Chevy, which will handle a little bit more a little differently than a Ford. And the reason for that is there's a multitude of things that each manufacturer is trying to figure out to make their car the best. Chevys have been pretty dominant in the past. Ford has actually been doing okay recently. They certainly were good last year at the beginning. But RFK getting the penalties that they had and whatnot, that made Brad Keselowski had to kind of bow out. But the Fords themselves were pretty quick. Same thing with the Chevys. Toyota's actually struggled a bit early on, but they seemed to get it okay. And then there was the whole cheating thing with Denny Hamlin and I think it was Kyle Busch at Pocono. Had his win stripped away from him, which kind of sucks. But They are very strict on some of these things with these cars, but in real life you don't really have to deal with it. Ooh, puff of smoke. I believe there's just cars gotten loose there. But I am around the 7 as I was sort of rambling there. And now it's a matter of reeling in the 4. Now the reason why I kind of was okay rambling over 7 is the 7 really doesn't play into it until a little bit later. But the 4, he was my main competitor through this race.
Hang on to her, Brian.
Ooh, Brian's having trouble. They were down to 1 of 20, or 1 of 3 drivers at least. Been able to get around the 4.
Sorry, Travis.
Ooh, and the 4 gets a little bit loose. The 7 is hot on my tail. Ooh, he gets really loose, cuts it way down low. But he's able to hold on to it, and the 7 is back on me. And it's not too often that I'm up in the front for the battle for the lead. And it's also only 21 laps into the race, and things are heating up. You can hear some of the chatter between the drivers. They're getting a little bit argy-bargy, to say the least.
Traffic serious, huh, Fox?
I actually looked back in some of the replay of that, and basically they were just in a pack race, just about. I see how the 7 drives it into the corner, just a different approach to mine, actually just a better line. And he's able to come up to my outside. Now the outside line and the inside line both have their advantages and disadvantages. You'll see my disadvantage coming out of the corners where you can see the 7 is able to get a run because he's able to take a higher speed on the outside. But I'm able to really drive it into the corners here. Now, his car looks like it's able to do both as well, but he's going to try and pass me on the outside because he knows I'm going to go low. I feel more comfortable low. The reason why is I'm farthest away from the wall. I don't want to hit the wall. In a fixed race, I might try and run a higher line, but not 25 laps in. There he goes. He's able to get around me, but not 24 laps into a 100-lap race. I want to try and keep my side clean. I've already tapped the wall once. And he's going to finally be able to clear me just about. As we come across the line, you can see the Buster's corner cars right up my tailpipe there. Try and get the draft here, able to get a little bit of a distance, but just enough to breathe. You see, I really get high up on the wall and really try and drive it into the corner. Really pin it on the apex between 1 and 2 and be able to drive out as smooth as you can. You do not want to lose the back end in these things because, well, there's a lot of concrete on the inside that you can use to kind of catch the car. It will ruin your race and ruin your tires. Number 7 is building up just a little bit of a lead now, up to 0.2 second gap between me and him, and only 0.1 to the number 1 behind me. Although I am able to get a bit of a drive and starting to push on him a little bit, but not able to get the drive out of the corner. His car is just really good out of corners there. Now, in a race like this, we're now 28 laps in, and we're still hauling. I mean, the lap times at about this point were about 30, high 31s to low 32s. And you may be wondering, how exactly do you save tires in a cup car? Well, it's not all that different from how you save it in an Xfinity car or truck series. You basically trail brake and just try and keep as smooth as possible. You actually hear a little bit of tire squeal as you're going through the corner. You want to try and minimize that as much as you can. You see the 7 got a little bit loose there. I am putting on the pressure. I'm looking to his inside, but not able to quite make it move. Now that tire squeal is letting you know the tires are scrubbing on the surface of the track, and that is wearing the tires. So you want to minimize that. Around Vegas, you can do a pretty decent job. Now, I dived to the inside there. He's able to just cut me off and pin it to that line. Not able to get around him that way. All three of us are very close together, but I make my move, come to the inside, force him wide, and I'm able to clear him coming out of the corner. Am I able to keep him behind? I am, but he is starting to gain, trying to see if he can claw back the lead. But he's just not quite able to get the run. His run was a little too compromised by his subpar line around the outside. Just didn't quite have the right approach, and thus was not able to carry the speed. The outside line is actually really difficult to get right. It's something that these cup drivers, because they are at the top of their game, they're able to do, but peons like me who just play iRacing as a hobby find it much more challenging. Now this is the, as you see, this green car here, number 21, is gaining on me and passing. Now don't be alarmed, he is a lap down, actually he's 3 laps down, just getting back one of his laps. And he's on fresher tires. He must have been involved in an incident, or maybe had spun out and not brought up caution. I'm not sure, I didn't catch it. But just to assure you, I am still in the lead. But that did create a little bit of a sketchy situation where, had he battled longer just to get his lap back, that could have allowed the 7 to get around him, caused problems elsewhere. Now, NASCAR, unlike, say, GT racing or Formula 1, they don't formally have a blue flag. A lap car can block the leader if he wanted to. They can also race him and pass him. That's all fair game. Now, why do I say they don't have one formally? Because they will actually show the blue flag at a driver if the leader is approaching them. So, you might see that if you're ever at a race, but know that the driver can do whatever the hell he wants. It's actually, they're more cavalier in NASCAR than they are elsewhere, and I think it comes from its southern and rebellious roots. But back to the cars, they are racing these for the second year now. The next gen, now the Gen 7 Cup car, debuted in 2022 at LA Coliseum, and they learned a few things from last year. Of course, the issues of concussions and rear-end collisions and stuff. Ooh. Oh, I remember. I was watching this part in replay, but he basically just door slammed him. Nothing really came of it, so I didn't bother cutting back, but we will be doing that later on in the race. There are some interesting situations. But you see this 7 is going to my inside here, forces me wide. I then kind of squeeze him just a little bit and let him around there. So he's able to clear me. Good move there, but I do a switcheroo here. I'm able to come to the inside of him and almost clear him coming out of 2. But not quite. His outside line just has a little bit superior speed out of the corners, but I have superior speed in the corners. We are now, oh, but he is able to just eke out the lead there, and I'm not able to rebut. Yes, in these cars, they redesigned the back clip to try to avoid some of the issues with concussions, to add a little bit less rigidity to the back, so in these medium to high-speed collisions, they're not as violent. We will see how that pans out. We haven't seen any major collisions like that, although some people still complain that they were hard hits, but they didn't show any signs of concussions or anything like that. They seemed to be okay, which is good. The other thing that they've been experimenting with is a shorter spoiler. They're planning on going with a 2-inch spoiler at certain tracks, particularly short tracks and some mile speedways and stuff like that. There's sirens going on. That's to sort of reduce the downforce, let the cars be a little bit more slidey on some of those shorter tracks. Allow a little bit more of that sliding action that we've had, say, like in the Gen 4 era. And that's actually the downforce number that they're kind of shooting for. Actually, a little bit less downforce than that, so things could be interesting. And the reason why they're trying to reduce the downforce is, well, the tires are still really wide compared to Pre's. You see the one is looking on the inside here. He is about to pass. I am going to take on the outside line, get a decent run through there. So I'm not hiking up the track, but he was able to get by me. But I answered back, diving to the inside. Now I'm diving to the inside mainly because I'm comfortable on the inside. Slot in right behind him. Diving into 3. Ooh, and he is really high up on that wall. Yeah, the tires on these cars are wider than they were previously, so they produced a lot more grip. They pretty much had to shove each other out of the way, and did so at the LA Coliseum a couple weeks ago. But at the larger tracks, it's a great package. California Speedway was a fantastic race, aside from that one dodgy restart. I had a front row seat to, basically. Just didn't have my phone out. Ooh, as the 7 gets into the wall just ever so slightly, and the 1, ooh, gets sort of stuffed behind the Kodak car. That was the same car that jumped up into the wall just behind me in lap 1. That did allow me to get by Buster's corner car and slot myself into 2nd and hopefully try to reel back in the lead. He does have a 0.6 second lead on me and 0.7 on the fellow behind me. But we do also have a lapped car. On fresher tires, that could make things a little bit interesting. He is sort of occupying the number 1 car a bit, which is allowing me to pull away from him. I've now lengthened my lead to him by only half a second, but I've also gained a couple of tenths here and there to be within roughly about a half a second to the leader. See the distance there to the purple number 1 car, and now you can see the distance from me to the number 7. Now, he is number 7, I am number 6. That means our iRating at this point in time, we're fairly close to each other. So we are probably on a similar skill level, and to be honest, he probably is. I'm fairly mediocre. Now you see the number 17 is now looking to my inside. He does have fresher tires. So I just kind of let him by. Unfortunately, it compromised my line just a little bit. Didn't let me carry the speed like I normally would. Then I lose a bit of time to the leader as he lengthens his lead to now 0.7 seconds. Now number 1 is gaining on me. And it's looking like we might have to start going into green flag pit stops. I know some cars already are starting that. Pretty much have enough fuel in these cars to do about 60 to 70 laps. But the tires are probably going to give up on me first. Ooh, and 17 there is blinking. That is terrifying. Ooh, and a caution.
Number 17 with my new best friend. Oh, maybe it wasn't me. Whoever spun out. I thought it was.
He's just overjoyed.
It was
because
me.
the
I
caution
clipped
came
the
out.
apron. I got loose and it went down to the apron and hit the apron wrong and spun it out.
Ooh,
Thank
so
God I didn't hit
5.
anything. I don't know how I did that. I've never done that right there.
Yeah, we will take a look back at that.
Nobody hit me and I hit nothing. Yeah, that's amazing.
We got pretty lucky there. Because usually at these tracks, man, you're
We're
getting pinned
retired
up.
too, almost. Well, we're going to restart past that.
I think I only lost like 1 or 2 spots too, didn't I?
Pace cars in 3.
Now, I am going to be
Checking
going
up
into
at
the
3.
pits. There's actually a new tool in the pit box going forward. It didn't happen in this race, but you can now do autofill where it will calculate the amount of fuel that you need to make it to the end of the race with a margin of error that you can kind of plug in. Really useful. I'm terrible at arithmetic when I'm driving. So in this one I had to do arithmetic, but in the future I won't. It's great. Joy of joys. Made me so happy. See a couple of cars staying out, I believe because they are either lapped down or they've already pitted. But I'm going to look for my pit box here about midway through. Slide in there a little bit cautiously, get in there, slide, and beautiful. Actually in the center, the car drives right through me. We put on 4 new sets of Goodyear tires on this Ford Mustang. Loaded up with Sunoco fuel and the Whiskey File Logistics Ford Mustang is out. Now, this is, of course, a new car. Now, I think it's about time that we dial up good old JD down there and see how he feels about his car. Hey, JD. This is JD up in the GLR Esports booth.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
So, I mean, that hot rod is looking fast, brother. What's your strategy going forward?
You know, I mean, the car is feeling really great. It's much better on long runs. Short runs, usually I can get run over, so I'm really hoping that we're able to do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing far better than I was expecting to be doing for a first race. Being able to be up in the top 3, really fighting for the win. Let's see if we can bring this one home.
Yeah, well, good luck. Keep it up. Keep it clean.
Thanks, JD.
Well, thank you for indulging me in that little bit of corniness. I just thought it'd be a little bit fun to do. And also take advantage of the mic that in a race you'll see in the future I tried, and it kind of sucks. So I thought I would talk to myself and show you kind of the difference in sound quality. I'm still looking for a better mic, so if you've got one, please submit it into the comments.
That was a good green run, though.
That it was. Nice, good, long run.
It was, but, I mean, I saved my tires. I was making moves there.
Yeah, I did the same. I started in the back. I made it up to 6, I think.
Well, let's take a look back and see what actually happened to bring out this caution. Now you see the number 5. Number 5 is just all on his lonesome, really dives it into the corner and gets down on the apron and ends up just losing the back end. These cars actually have a diffuser on the back end of the car underneath that's creating some downforce, and if you offset the car a little bit, ends up getting a bit more air under there and you end up losing the back end. Now let's watch on board. I believe this is from the number 3 car. You see that? No, the number 3 car is the one coming out of the pits. He just has to slam on the brakes and almost ruins him. Good situational awareness there. That's number 14, sorry. But the number 3 was the car ahead, and just good situational awareness. Always good to keep an eye out. Well, I think now is about a good time to take a word from our sponsors.
Well, that was awkward. Want to get out of here? Take a flight with the Whiskey File Spirit Airlines. Not actually affiliated with Spirit Airlines, just simply a joke about whiskey. We give you comfier seats, more legroom, and we offer full beverage services on all of our flights, including select whiskeys from my private collection. Let's get away. Whiskey File Spirit Airlines.
In a world always on the move. A little robot has been left outside, all alone. As a storm approaches, he is about to go on his greatest adventure yet. But stars in Rainy Daydreams.
And welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the trailer there. That is a little project that I've been working on for quite some time, and I'm happy to share at least the trailer. It should be out by the end of this month, God willing.
This guy's like disappearing, for real disappearing.
Yeah, they're talking about the number 1.
Oh, you mean the leaper?
He's been sort of popping in and out after that caution and ended up just completely disappearing, as I will say.
Oh, number 1 just completely disappeared.
There he is. So that allowed the 15 to move up, but kind of scared me a little bit. But at least he'll be off the track, not glitching into anyone, but it's unfortunate. He was a good driver. But no more Buster's Corner on this race, unfortunately. Well, we come to the green flag iron course control on the inside. That's a terrible start. Really not that great of a start here. The lead car gets away good. Quickly cut to the pit stop to get my buttons mixed up. Certainly not going to happen again later in this race. And you see the 15 is kind of having a look into the outside, but I dive it into the corner on fresh tires. I am feeling confident. End up getting around the 4 pretty easily. Makes me think that he's not trying to put up too much of a fight, just trying to conserve his tires, expecting us to go for another long green flag run. which isn't entirely out of the question. Vegas does usually warrant longer green flag runs, just a wider track, easier lines to take multiple, actually just to drive into, as well as taking multiple lines. It just warrants cleaner racing than, say, a short track or something like a Daytona. But now it's about reeling in the leader who got away at that start. But I don't think he quite has it to hold me off. And certainly he was starting to drift away because we were talking about
No pressure, Sip.
that's the 15 talking to me.
Oh, good. I'm just racing my line.
Yeah, I just mean you don't have to overdrive on my account. I'm trying to save a little bit.
Now the reason why he's talking about me overdriving is I am pinning it down. Now that is a good way to defend, is to drive it down on that corner, but I'm not doing it to defend. And I'm not trying to defend. I am simply driving from the outside, the inside, the outside to conserve my tires as well as keep speed. Now as you see, I got a monstrous run out of that corner. And I was able to get side by side with the 7, able to cut off just a couple of feet in front of him, and I'm able to take the lead. That is on lap 57. The question is, did I push it too hard at the beginning of this run? Am I cooking off my tires, or am I able to save enough? Time will tell.
God dang.
A little bit of a close call further back in the pack. I want to think it was the... Actually, I didn't see who actually talked in that one. But I remember looking back and seeing a huge pack of cars there. They were borderline bouncing off each other. Now that you see the 15 was able to get around the 7, and the 4 is now starting to put a little bit of pressure on me. Now this is the same guy, of course, who was saying to not drive here on my account. He was trying to save his tires, which is interesting, because he seems to be pushing it rather hard on me. But hey, each person has their own setup, and each setup warrants a little bit different tire wear. So he's going to try and take it on the outside, but I'm able to get a better run through the corner. And I pretty much leave the spot open to the top just to avoid any collision or anything like that. But it does compromise my entry into the corner here, but we have a little bit more movement. He's going to try and take it up high, almost gets up into the wall. But he gets a pretty good run. He must have taken that line just perfectly. He'll get just up to my rear bumper. Yeah, he is doing very well running that high line. I am not able to do that. Or just don't have patience for it. But he's not able to keep up with my runs even though he's taking the high line. I think he might have cooked his tires a little bit. Now I hook it up, saw my car wiggle just a little bit.
Oh, they held together.
Oh boy. Something's going on.
Never mind.
Oh, let's take a look back real quick. See the number 8 here. Going into turn 1, I believe he's on the... Ooh, just gets tagged by that 14. Good save there. He's able to bring it to the bottom of the track. The 14 gets up into the wall, comes down off the wall, and just... Oh, that's just heartbreaking. That really is. 8 just got nailed. Now, what's surprising is it didn't bring out a caution. In real NASCAR it would have, but not in iRacing. Now we come back here and see I have gained on the 15. He was starting to fall away before we cut back to look at that replay. And now I've extended my lead to nearly a second. And that can be both comforting as well as a little bit worrisome. I don't know if I'm burning off my tires a little bit too quickly, they're just holding back, or they maybe burned their stuff up. But we'll find out. Now we're going to take a look back here at this pack that's trailing me and see how they're racing against each other. 7 gets up into the 15.
Why?
Ends up just tapping them just ever so slightly.
I got loose, dude, and there was a car coming underneath me.
7, why?
Why what? I didn't touch you.
Okay.
You've been struggling on that high line since you got in front of us.
Not wrong. As he taps the wall there.
Whoa, bud.
Ooh, and
Looks
the
like
7
you're
gets
struggling yourself.
7 got just a little bit loose.
Yeah, at least I blame myself for my mistakes.
Things can get a little heated. You know, fun fact, back in, I believe it was 2011, they experimented with car-to-car radio, and there was some similar banter much like this. It was very entertaining. Now granted, I'm looking at that in hindsight because I actually sort of fell away from NASCAR during that time. Yeah, just schooling and other stuff took up the time, but I am back, of course. Absolutely adore it. But that conversation does make things a little bit fun.
Go ahead, for it. Go low. All right.
It's also very useful when communicating. Allowing cars to pass, especially if you're a lapped car trying to allow cars to pass without having to compromise their speed, really does help. Now I know spotters can do that.
Go low.
Spotters can easily do that for you, as well as coordinate with other teams too. So there's a part of me that kind of wants to see the car-to-car radio come back. Now we look back here at the number 4, the number 7, and back to me, they are 2.7 seconds behind. After that little kerfuffle there, that allowed me to pull away by quite a considerable margin. I mean, you may not think it, but 2.7 seconds, 2.8 is a huge distance when your average speed is about 170 miles an hour. You see how far back they are. But you see the 4 is clear of the 7, which means he can start running me down. Now, I really want to do a shout out to this guy. The number 4, he was a fantastic driver. Really clean. He wasn't really involved in a major argument between those two, but he was just solid. Now, unfortunately, this camera angle is not a real camera angle in NASCAR. They don't have GoPros on the side. And my cameras that are mated to my Mustang do not work on Camaros, which is stupid. If only iRacing could actually manage something like that. Or at least just have better camera angles. A lot of my camera angles are actually custom. Sure, the TV ones are fairly standardized, but my wall camera, that one's a custom camera. Got a couple others. My camera on the ground there that you've seen a few times, that one's also custom. And we'll just snap to the pace car because I always get used to doing it right there at the apron. We'll look at the number 12, even though he's the wrong car I'm trying to look at. Come on, cameraman, get it together. There we go. We got to the 4, we got to the 7, we got to the 15. See, they are fairly spread out now. Let's see if we can see the deltas here. It's 2.5 to me from second place, then 2 seconds behind him, and 1.4 behind him. If you're wondering, the intervals, which are the left column there of the times, is the interval between car to car, and the gap is the distance between, at least the time difference, between the car and me, or the leader, but in this case I am the leader. A lot of useful telemetry, and shout out to Race Labs. Their telemetry is top notch. You can actually have these overlays going during your race while you're racing, but I like to use them in replays. Also gives you a bunch of data as well as pitting. Ooh. Sounds like something was going on there. We'll cut back real quick and take a look. Ooh, quite the cluster here. Ooh, and yeah, just got banged in the rear bumper there. So everything kind of got checked up. But good on everyone sort of keeping it together. Now we ride on board here with me. Just kind of take you for a lap here. Now I really like Vegas. If you haven't noticed, I've done pretty well here. But I think the reason why is it's a comfortable track. It's good to go for open green flag runs. I really thrive in more endurance-oriented environments. The short runs, I'm always hesitant to really push it hard because I don't want to just cook my tires and end up, you know, with no rubber 40 laps into a green flag run. But at the same time, if there's only like a few laps left, I'm getting run over anyways because I'm just not... I like to be more methodical in my racing. Now, that methodicalness can be compromised also by me having to think. And, well, one thing to talk about in just a little bit of my brain right now is the number 4 car. Notice he went from 2.7 seconds behind to now 2.2. That interval is coming down. I was watching the lap times for each lap. At this point in the race, I'm doing 31.7, 31.8, 31.9. He is consistently doing 31.7 seconds. Now, that's going to start elongating a little bit more as the tires wear more and more. The fact that he is always about a tenth, maybe a little bit less than a tenth, but always a tenth, faster than me. That's concerning. And I'm watching those deltas. And it's concerning because I'm doing the math. If he's gaining on me by a tenth of a second every lap or every 2 laps, do I have enough time before he gets to me? Sorry for the quick cut to the pace car as well as to the number 17, but I keep hitting that changing the car during the front stretch. We'll leave to that, but I digress. Now we cut back to the cars further behind. You see one has rejoined, but he is a lap down. Actually, several laps down. I don't remember exactly how far back he is. But his disconnect had set him back a little bit. You are able to rejoin if you get disconnected. But it basically treats it as if your car went in the garage. But again, another shout out to Buster's Corner. Good setups, good cars. Just hopefully he gets a better internet connection. Although there were also winter storms and stuff going around, so that could potentially be it. I mean, California got snow. Fontana got snowed out on Saturday. Now we cut back up to the number 4 on his relentless push to catching me. Question is, can he? Looking at the deltas between me and him, it is now down to 1.8. You can see that the number 7 car behind him is pretty much no issue. 6 seconds behind him, 8 seconds behind me. And the car behind him is another 1.6 seconds, which is about now 10 seconds behind me, the leader. So me and Mr. Mitchell there have really pulled away from the rest of the cars. But I haven't really pulled away from him as he's slowly reeling me in. Now we are on lap 86, which means 15 laps to go with a delta of 1.6 quickly going down. I really don't know if I can make it. It is going to be close. You see, as we're getting into the final few laps, the radio chatter has pretty much quieted down, and the main reason is just people are focusing. At this point in the race, number 4 is focused squarely on trying to pass me, but the number 12 is going to upset those plans just a little bit. Now, the number 12 is a lap-down car, but he's on fresher tires, which is the reason why he's able to pass the 4 with relative ease. The 4 is going to dive to the middle line. The 12 looks like it's going to stay right in front of him. They're basically just gonna pull him towards me. But fortunately for me, the 12 is not able to get by me. Just not able to catch up, but he has brought the number 4 to within a second. But oh, he gets loose on the apron and smacks into the wall. The thing is, though, that little bit of trouble caused a little bit of an issue for the 4. Now let's look back just quickly in the blimp cam here. You see he just got on the apron, got a little bit loose on the apron again, and just into the wall, and his day is done. That is unfortunate. But now after that incident, the delta has gone up again. It's now up to 1.2. That gives me just a little bit more breathing room. I've also got a lapped car in front of me that I'm using essentially just to get a little bit more speed. Basically just drafting off of him. But eventually I'll dispatch him and try to get around him. As I do, he cuts down to the bottom just to let me by. And that little bit of a shell game, it seems, because that car and some sort of difficulty or something like that, the delta has now gone up to 2 seconds, so I've gained a little bit more breathing room. What's also interesting is you look at the cars behind: 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 13 seconds, 15 seconds, 17, 18, 19. I mean, some of these cars are halfway around the track. I mean, third place is 11 seconds behind. We're going to look back at him, the number 7 there. Then the number 1, who's several laps down, but in that pack. Now the 4 is getting a little bit annoyed with the 21. The 21 is just trying to stay out of the way, but compromising some of the lines. The 4 gets a little bit loose there. You see, he just has to save it so he doesn't T-bone the 21. But he's going to come to his outside here and able to make the pass. But again, that's compromised more of his time. It's given me just a little bit more breathing room at about 2.1 seconds with now 8 laps to go. Now you may be wondering why the rankings shift a little bit, if it's like a big block. Sometimes someone's connecting or
You want to go
disconnecting.
high, you want me to stay low?
I'll go low.
Communication between him and lapped cars. It's, again, always nice to see.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, when you get
No
into
worries.
good races, it's nice. But like week 13, some things got a little dicey. You'll see the Phoenix race next week. That was a heck of a race. So much trouble. Bet it might take a while to edit. Now we see the number 4. As you see, I fumbled to the wrong vehicle buttons. He's really pushing it, really driving it hard. 5 laps to go now. He has brought that delta back down to 1.3. The amount that he's gained is quite impressive. He's got a lot of speed in that car. And granted, I'm not pushing mine as hard as I could. Granted, if I did, I'd probably stuff it in the wall. Ooh, skims the wall just a little bit, ends up having to cut down to the, basically to the apron just to hold on to the car, followed it all the way down there. Ends up losing time to me. That delta now to 1.4 seconds. Still close enough for him to see me, but not close enough to get any of the draft help. Typically you won't see that until you're within about a second of the car in front of you.
Thank you, boys.
Now we are coming to 2 to go. These are his final moments. If he's able to make anything happen, now would be the time. He's now within 1 point, actually now exactly 1 second of me. He is very, very close. Now we come to the white flag. Ooh, and something is going wrong with my overlays. Oh, that is unfortunate. There they are. They're back. Oh, nope, there. Okay, we are having some technical difficulties here. The one next to the wall. Oh, and it looks like the 4 has fallen away a bit, allowing me to cruise on to a victory. There you have it, folks, after 100 laps. I managed to get away with the victory. Now let's look back a little bit at what I was trying to show. Before was just coming up through out of turn 2, ends up getting just a little bit loose, a little bit sideways, catches it. Good save there. But that's where he lost time. And that's unfortunate. But he still comes away with a P2. Good on him.
That hell of a race. I was watching that Delta like a hawk. Good job.
Eric, why'd you pull over?
You see him there giving me just a little bit of a congratulations there. No idea what was going on with Eric, but well, we've got to do our obligatory celebration there. Skid on the brakes a little bit just because I'm locking them out. My tires are shot to hell. So I give a little bit of a burnout for the crowd here. Try to spin around. Yeah, get the donuts going. Look at him celebrate. Oh, yeah. Just having a good old time. Oop, and I got stuck a little bit on the apron. Shh, ignore that. Look away. Look away. Well, I get off the apron there. Able to spin the car around. I'm going to try and do a little bit of a burnout, but I realize, I'm on this line part of the track, and my car is just going to stuff it in the wall. I really don't want to do that, so I'm just going to go back into the pits. I did what I needed to. I got the win. I'm happy about that. Well, now I think it's about time for the usual obligatory YouTube shenanigans. That would be like, subscribe, comment, and share all the YouTube things. GLR Esports also got a Discord. We'll put that down there if you want to join us. We do racing in Gran Turismo. We do racing in ACC. I do racing in iRacing. Plus, I'll race just about anything else. Yeah, if you're interested, feel free to join us. I believe you just have to like Guinness or else Mikey will waterboard you. And as a thank you for sticking to the end here, I've got a little bit of extra footage at the end from my little escapade at Fontana. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
As they work their way off of turn number 4, that Toyota Camry Pace vehicle is going to duck onto pit road. Here they come down for the start. Christopher Bell and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. side by side in row number 1. We are underway here at Auto Speedway for Kyle Busch.